Hey, what's up? David didn't make another video, so I just kind of decided to make one on my own because I'm kind of starting to like this. So, since I'm not responding to a video he made, I figured I'd just talk about myself this week. This morning I was, reading my Bible devotional. It was in Luke chapter 10, and the lesson that went along with it mentioned how, as Christians, we have access to God. We can talk to Him whenever we want and submit prayer. We can pray to God, and through Jesus, He promises to hear, decide on, and answer everything we bring before Him. And because God loves us and cares about us and protects us, we don't have to be afraid of anything. And a lot of people don't have that. They live in fear of a lot of things, and it's just crazy the comfort that comes with that. I have known about the verse there. I can't remember the reference, but actually I can't even remember what the verse said, but I've known about that most of my life, that God answers our prayers. And it just kind of reminded me of the way I used to be before I grew in my faith with God. Because when I was younger, I just kind of went to church because my parents asked me to. I didn't really understand a lot of it, and I later came to find my own faith. And as most of you know, if you're watching this video, you've seen my previous ones where I have stated I am a United States Marine. Hoorah! I'd like to tell you a little bit about why I became a Marine. It started back in high school. I saw the recruitment commercials. They were pretty shiny. There was all that propaganda and whatnot. And they made the Marines look awesome. I loved the Marines. I thought they were really awesome. The few, the proud, the Marines. Everybody's seen like 1,000 commercials. Everybody loves the Marines. And so did I. And there was a Marine recruiter who came to my high school a lot. And he had like this little push-up contest. He'd be in the cafeteria, he'd have his little table with all his cool little Marine stuff. He had all little sorts of cool stuff over there. He had like bumper stickers and t-shirts and hats and whatnot. It was really cool. And to get those, you couldn't buy them. You had to win them by doing push-ups. If you got 25 push-ups, you could have this little Semper Fi bumper sticker. If you did 50, and you have to do these consecutively. You can't take breaks in between. Which 25 is not hard especially if you're in shape, it's not hard. If you could do 50, back in high school, who was in shape though? Whatever. If you could do 50, you got a hat. It was like a baseball cap. It said Marines on it. It was pretty cool. If you could do 100, you had your choice of a Semper Fi foam football or a Marines t-shirt. And it was kind of cool. I never did get the t-shirt. I couldn't do 100 push-ups in high school. I did get the hat though. It took me a while though. I kept coming back. And the guy took notice that I kept coming back when everybody else would try it a few times and then just not come back. And then they realized they couldn't make it and they went away. And so he started to reach out to me, which, looking back, I understand what he was doing. To any Marine, you're going to recognize it almost right away. He asked me like how I liked school, how my family was and whatnot, if I had any plans for the future. This is obvious to any Marine. He's probing for details he can use to try and recruit me, which is his job. He's a recruiter. He's doing his job. But me being who I was back then, it felt like he was reaching out to me on a personal level. And so I came to enjoy it. And I used to like to walk up to him. I'd walk into the cafeteria and I'd say hi, I'd wave and whatever. And it became like a thing. And I was always happy to see him every day, and he always smiled and waved back at me. And occasionally the conversations would have nothing to do with trying to recruit me. It would just be small talk about whatever. It was like he was investing almost as a friend. It was kind of interesting. I grew to think of him as a friend, and one day he kind of said to me, he I guess because he figured I was gonna keep coming back. He waited a couple weeks to finally sell it, and he asked me if I'd ever thought about being a Marine, and I I was like no, because I was afraid back then. I was scared of a lot of things. Like I said, this is before I grew in my faith in God. I was afraid of what I might turn into, because as much as I revered the Marines, I knew that they were a military force. I knew if I joined the Marines, I'd end up in the military, probably being asked to do some stuff that I might not be okay with. I was afraid of what I'd be asked to do. I mean, it's a military force. We're in the business of killing people. So, like, I was afraid of what I might turn into. I was afraid of leaving everyone behind. I was afraid of where I would go. I mean, I was afraid of a lot of things back then. And so I said to him, no, no, I will never be a Marine. I actually said those words, I will never be a Marine, which is kind of funny because now I am. Um, so I try not to swear by never and forever because of that, because I said I would never be a Marine, and lo and behold, it's only like 6 years later that here I am. Where was I going with this? I wrote notes. Okay, so a couple years, like fast forward a few years out of high school, I had grown more in my faith and my walk with God, and I was looking for direction with my life. I'd gone through college, and I was just not getting the job I wanted, and I was pretty much where a lot of people end up at the age of 22, or I was 21 at the time. Yeah, I was 21 at the time. You're just kind of not sure what to do with your life. You're living at home, like, freeloading. And so I was asking God for guidance, because he does that. He's really good at helping me figure out which direction to move in. And he said to join the Marines. And of course, at first I was like, no, because that old fear just came right back. I was, But then I realized God is all powerful, and he has a plan for me. So surely nothing too bad is going to happen to me before that plan is carried out. God's not going to let me die without making full use of me while I'm alive. So I don't have to fear death, because I know that if I do die, then my work was finished, and I'd done everything I needed to. And there's a strange comfort that comes with that. I can walk boldly forward knowing that every step is at least in the right direction, because God is guiding my steps, because I have asked him to and allowed him to take control of my life, and he's a lot better than I am. I mean, there were a few years there when I said, screw you, God, I'm gonna do my thing, and not very happy years, I can tell you that. So those of you who know me very well and who have spoken to me in depth beyond how's the weather will probably know that I think almost constantly about what kind of a father I would want to be to my kids someday. I am not yet, thankfully, because frankly right now I cannot support a relationship so much as a family. I'm just not ready. And of course, technically speaking, no one ever is. But right now is just not the right time. But someday I want to be a father. And I often think about what kind of a father I would want to be. And so I pray about that, and I pray that God would guide me to become the man who can be a father to my kids. And thinking about that, I would need leadership skills, you know? I'd need leadership skills. I would need confidence in who I am. I would have to know who I was and where I was going in order to lead them in a direction and to have any idea where I should lead them. And those leadership skills will definitely come to me in time while I'm in the military. I mean, by necessity, I'm going to have to learn them. And so I'm in a really good position for that. So it's just amazing God's ability to plan with that and how elegant the solution was. And honestly, because I know that God is guiding my steps, I can be confident in who I am. And that brings with it an incredible comfort, not having to fear death, not having to be ashamed of who I am. When I was younger, I didn't have that because I hadn't grown in my faith yet. I was bullied a lot as a kid. Not many people know that about me, although some people notice now that I still run into people who try to hurt me. But it's just funny because you can't. I know who I am, and I don't need your approval. God is the only approval I need. So why does your opinion matter? And it's funny, people who bully a lot, people who are quick to point out the faults of others, it's usually people who frequently hurt others are usually hurting themselves. And I didn't realize this when I was younger. I was very sensitive back then. I took a lot of what they said to heart, and I didn't realize what it was. It's really a diversionary tactic. Someone who constantly tries to hurt others is trying to hide the fact that they are themselves hurting. And it really comes from two main sources, which are sort of one and the same, which is both insecurity and jealousy. Insecurity, people who are insecure are quick to point out the faults of others because they're so aware of their own faults. They're absolutely terrified that people are going to notice. And so they're pointing at that guy over there saying, look at him, look how bad he is, as a way of saying, don't look at me. Because they know their own faults and they're terrified people will notice. And so the only way they know how to feel safe is to divert attention to someone else. And they do that by pointing out faults. It's really, just try it sometime. Find someone who's screwed up and just yell loudly that they're screwed up and the entire crowd looks at them. It's not hard. And jealousy functions in a similar manner, but for a different reason. People who are jealous of someone else will try to hurt them because they know they're better. They find someone who has either more money, more possessions, more status, better morals, someone who they know is better than them. And they point out that person's faults with fervor, highlighting every mistake, exaggerating every fault in a desperate attempt to make that person appear less than them. It's a weird twisted view that if they can push someone else down, it somehow lifts them up. The sad thing is it really doesn't. Honestly, they don't realize that the answer actually comes from embracing who you are and trying to better yourself. Instead of trying to push someone else down beneath you, that doesn't make you any higher. It might make you look higher, but deep down, it really doesn't make you any better. And if you're one of the people that does that, you know that. And that just makes me sad because I feel bad for those people. I wish they would realize that really you just need to embrace who you are, know who you are, and try to make that person better. It's funny that I run into those people even in the Marine Corps because one of our leadership principles is word for word, seek self-improvement. I said that wrong. Know yourself and seek self-improvement. I wrote down a little cliff note and I forgot to write it out properly. one of our leadership principles is to know yourself and seek self-improvement. And that's actually the answer that these people are looking for, and they don't even realize it. And some of these people are in the Marine Corps. And it's just... I mean, I used to be there, when I was younger, so I can understand how you can be that blind. It's just still shocking to realize. I mean, Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones, he's one of my favorite characters from Game of Thrones. In A Dance with Dragons, he said it to Jon Snow. Be proud of who you are. Know who you are. Wear it on your chest like armor. And no one will ever be able to use it as a weapon against you. And that runs right alongside the philosophy that God is... I don't know what the word is, but God is the one who we need. We need God's approval. God's approval is the one we need to look for. You know what I'm trying to say? God's is the only approval we need. And if you know who you are and you just wear it on your chest, people make fun of me because I'm a Christian or because, dare I say it, I'm a brony. I mean, I've said that to people. I watch a show called My Little Pony. Who cares? Something I do in my personal time has nothing to do with you. I know who I am, and I'm proud of that. And, and first and foremost, I am a child of God. And God justifies anything that I do in His name. And I just want to reach out to these people. I mean, there's someone who I run into a lot who I think is hurting in this way because he often tries to point out my faults. And actually he may end up seeing this video. I want to reach out to you. I mean, haha. Stuck in the closet, hiding in the closet. I'm in a closet. Funny joke, actually. I can laugh at that. I want to help you. I know you don't want to admit to everyone else that you're hurting. I can see it because I've seen it before. I spent most of my life on the receiving end of that, to the point where I know what it looks like. I know how to recognize it. You can deny it to everyone else, but I know what it is. And I want to help you, but I honestly can't. The only person who can really help you is you. You need to stop trying to hide who you are. And just be proud of it. I pray that you could learn to swallow that pride that you've woven around yourself. I mean, I would say come to God, but I know that you won't do it that simply. But that's where I find my self-worth and my self-confidence, is I am a child of God. And if you know you're right by God, what weight does anyone else's opinion carry? I can stand unashamed of who I am because I know God is my Father. And He protects my life and my honor. And I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. God loves me anyway. He loves us in our brokenness. And I want the same for you. I can tell that you're hurting. I don't know what it's about because you have put such a shell around yourself that I really can't see what's on the other side. But I can see the symptoms and know what they mean. And I want you to feel the love that I do from God. I want to help you, but you need to make the decision. You can let go of your fear and your shame. Or you can hold on to it. And you may never know peace. Anyway, I just wanted to share with you guys today. May God bless your day. Thanks for watching. See ya.